and welcome to the 250th episode of Literary Gladiators. The show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
I'm Ari.
Trevor.
I'm Tori.
And I'm Josh. And for this 250th episode, Trevor is back for a 5th consecutive season. And Tori, this is your first time at Ari's place.
Yeah, it is, and I found myself here a little too easily, so I kind of was very questionable. I was like, Google Maps got me here on time, properly. So.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong! Panic!
Not too difficult of a place.
No.
I could probably get here in my sleep.
It was a lovely new place.
Please don't. I don't want you getting in a car accident.
No, it's an...
People have done that.
Figuratively
It's scary.
speaking.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be finding myself waking up in front of Ari's door.
Could you imagine that? You're like sitting down for a bowl of cereal and you just see him on your porch. Like, good morning.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Hungry Caterpillar.
We are going to be discussing The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Carle. This is a children's book. It's a very renowned children's book. And Ari has the discussion starter.
I do. So, with Very Hungry Caterpillar, it's pretty simple. Do you think that this book is more... what kind of lessons do you think that children can learn from this book, in general?
A bunch.
I think there are several. I'm
There's
just curious what you guys
There's
think.
like different types of food. Mm-hmm. It's like basic level of like what a butterfly
Nature.
is like.
What kind of
Nature.
foods? Actually, what kind of foods are healthy and what aren't? Because when he eats all the Saturday foods, he gets the stomach.
The Saturday foods, that's the best part of the whole book.
Eat like cake and a lollipop and sausage and like
salami
pie and salami on top of it, like on top of each other's
here.
Considering like some of that stuff isn't even kosher.
Chocolate cake, ice cream cone, pickle, slice of Swiss cheese, slice of salami.
I know you like the cheese, Josh.
I like the salami too. When they're together, it's divine.
This was one of our favorite children's books growing up. Like all three of my sisters, it would be in the car constantly.
Did you have
lollipop, cherry pie, sausage, cupcake, and watermelon,
and a partridge in a pear tree?
Yeah, right.
But the interesting thing about that is when it comes to food like fruits and vegetables, they don't necessarily fill you up on their own. But almost always, when you eat a great deal of junk food, that's going to stuff you.
But then
it's like simple carbs versus complex carbs.
That's the same thing with water versus soda, where water...
We've already had this discussion.
Yeah.
Literally, we've already had this discussion.
It's the same thing.
Check out Soda Politics on Literary Gladiators.
So what I was doing a little like just preliminary Google research on this, and I found this interesting. This book, the way that it was done, if you don't mind, I'm going to just use this as an example. The pages like this were actually, it was interesting because there were no American printers. They had to outsource it to Japan at the time that this was initially printed, like the big classic version that we're thinking of. So Carle and his editor, both had to find another source to be able to print that because that was unheard of. So it was kind of like a little bit groundbreaking in the way that it was printed.
I remember the big print version from pre-kindergarten, and we did an art project recreating the very first scene in the book.
I love the imagery in this. It's just so quintessential, like children's book. Like when I think about children's stories, that's the sort of that collage, crepe paper, colorful, bright, like primary colors.
And I think it speaks to all kinds of readers too. It speaks to the young reader, and it's also something that an adult can appreciate.
And Carle, I mean, he's definitely, his writing is simple but effective, and his art is also spectacular. I don't know if you've read the Hermit Crab one.
It's a different artist.
Oh, different artist.
Yeah, I think there's a different person who illustrates these, which is that collage style.
Because I know the Hermit Crab book had very similar artwork.
Yeah, the artist and Carle kind of worked together. Because it became, I want to say there's a different illustrator, but I could be lying.
I also am thinking it might be the same because if you look how he signs his name almost as if it is a piece of art.
Yeah, whatever the case being, whoever did this was the first of that series, and kind of that just became the quintessential Carle imagery was that collage like like I said, the crepe paper on the white background.
But you could probably, if you're in like a preschool and you were to read this book, you could actually probably get 5 different lessons from this book and go over each lesson per day.
well,
Like there is enough in there.
there's a
that you
reason
could
why
do
so
that.
many like school systems absolutely love this book because of that. Because like we said, it teaches the days of the week. It teaches counting. It teaches a basic lifestyle, life process of like a butterfly, even though they don't necessarily
Life cycle.
eat like
How the caterpillar goes to the cocoon and becomes a butterfly too.
So,
And
colors,
there's so
you can
many
do
things
different
that,
things with
so many different ideas, be it art projects or, as you mentioned, science. If you're going to say that the caterpillar, a very
Basic
preschool
evolution.
science.
yeah, it's a fun little springboard to get you in like whatever
Right.
different direction.
Mhm.
The other thing that I found was really fun, the holes of him like eating through the different things.
I like how
was
they're lined up.
actually him just messing around with a hole punch, like while he was writing one day, and so he like, it was like Marmy the Worm or something. Like he had a funny little name for the character, and like pitched this little story of an adventure of this tiny little green worm to his editor, and his editor was like, I don't know if people are gonna like that as a protagonist. What about like something different? And the two of them messed around, and then he's like, I got it, a butterfly, and that's how the Very Hungry Caterpillar came about. So I thought that was cute, just
And
playing
it's-
around with a hole punch.
It's very effective that he was able to, after he got to the 5 over here, he was able to use the next page when he went through all that junk food.
And then the leaf on
And
the
then
next page.
the leaf on the next page.
I think that's
what he was able
another
to-
reason why like I absolutely loved this book was because it had a little playfulness. It broke down that like fourth wall that is established by children's books usually.
And I always thought
it
that
had
picture of the fat cat. I like how it says like, and then the caterpillar became fat, and
the chubby
makes me
caterpillar,
giggle a
so
little
yeah,
bit.
Mhm.
imagery wise, it's
Oh, it's just
He
fat
definitely-
caterpillar business.
He definitely possessed humor in putting this together, and I think that's very essential.
and I'm not gonna lie, that opening to that first page where the moon is I'm
It's
sorry, I
not-
keep on taking it from you, but like the moon with the little leaf and stuff like that, like I opened
That's like
that
the best picture
and,
in,
like,
in the book.
instantaneously I was like, oh, I forgot how much this book was so cute. Like I was taken back to childhood. Like
It's probably
connected with me like
it
on
may
an
have been
emotional
done
level.
intentionally to like get kids
So
familiar with
calm.
other nursery rhymes, like The Man in the Moon, for instance.
That could be, but just that image was such an emotional like trigger.
I agree.
Like
I liked it.
I opened it and like stopped for a second. I was like, I forgot this was. And when I mentioned that I was reading this, my mom was like, "You 3, because I have sisters. Like you loved that book. It was in the car. It didn't matter if you read it once. You read it 100 times because you loved just flipping through the pages. So it was just a standard in our household. So, and I forgot like how much of a like beloved book that was as a child. So that was fun. It was a nice little revisit down memory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. We read it time and time again, pre-kindergarten,
Yeah, I read
kindergarten.
it a lot too as well.
So, do we have any final thoughts? Because it's pretty self-explanatory.
I've got the Very Hungry Caterpillar plush
Oh
that my girlfriend gave me about a year ago, and he's carrying a very special note that is for Josh.
my god! Oh, look at that!
Hmm.
There you go.
Oh.
Must be a woolly bear. That's
you
kinda
you
caterpillar,
should take it
ladies and
off
gentlemen.
and
Aw, yeah, share with the class. It's so cute.
This is quite something. He
Look at that.
he signed it himself too.
Oh, this is so cute. We gotta work on our handwriting and spelling, but that's really, really cute. So, thank you very
He
much
knows,
for
bear
sticking
in
around,
mind-
right?
he knows his food pyramid. So
Well, bear in mind, caterpillars don't have opposable thumbs.
No, this
So
is
they've
true.
gotta make do with what
Very
they
good
best they
job,
can
little
in the
hungry
handwriting
caterpillar.
department.
You did a good job without having any sort of digits of any sort.
Aww.
Aww, I love you too. So thank you very much, everybody, for sticking around for 250 episodes of these shenanigans.
thank you very
here's
much.
to
guys.
250
Thank you very
more
much,
and then some.
ladies and
Absolutely.
gentlemen.
Alrighty then. How would we rate this on a 0 to 5 scale with half stars permitted, Ari?
Well, it's got to be a 5. I mean, especially for a kids book.
5.
Yeah, 5. It's near and dear to the heart.
I make it 4 5s, which doesn't happen very often here on Literary Gladiators.
Only a children's book can do that.
And very few children's books can do that. But if you're interested in checking out this children's book, here is a copy. This is the board version. There's a name for
The
it.
heavy duty kind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The board books.
the board books.
They're called board books, yeah.
And this is it's a smaller version, but it is an essential version. And it has my favorite part with the junk food.
And then you can also get the
Per
bigger
set.
version for about $20-ish at Barnes Noble. I've seen it there before.
There's also an ebook version of it, which is wild.
But then again, I wouldn't say junk food because watermelons. good
Pickles
for
aren't
you.
really junk food.
No, pickles are good, and if you, as long as you don't eat Swiss cheese to excess, it shouldn't be.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything in
Josh, it
moderation.
depends if
And-
you eat Swiss cheese in moderation or not, which I don't believe you do. I think
I
you
like-
eat it way too much.
I like cheese. I actually don't like Swiss cheese.
Oh, I thought the only cheese you didn't like was American.
I don't like American. I'm not too fond of Swiss
All
cheese.
right.
But-
Let's cut to the chase.
And chocolate cake
Cut
is
to the
good for your
cheese.
soul. Be sure to join us next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now,
Keep reading!
Bye.